Hello, welcome to the 8th round of the Neucom Touring Car Championship for the round of Finland, here at the world-famous Karjala Raceway. We finally reached the halfway point of the 2022 series season. We have our first major news item to cover here this week, as 1979 Formula Alpha Drivers Champion Jarkko Finland has passed away. He was here earlier this week before his sudden heart attack that ultimately claimed his life. The tributes to the 1979 Drivers' Champion were pouring in. The series for this week has decided to leave the number 1 slot open in tribute to Jarkko Finland. Of course, here on your screen is pole sitter Jeffrey Finguy, his grandson, as we will later mention here for pre-race. Like I mentioned, most of the tributes were pouring into Jarkko Finland, save for Grassukulo himself when he was a lot younger. Grassukulo had very ugly comments to say, suggesting the 1979 Drivers' Champion, including but not limited to, well, perhaps he should have burned at the Nordschleife. Yikes on that one. This led to quite the physical confrontation between Jeffrey Finguy and Grassukulo himself, to which led to Finguy scoping taking down Grassukulo outright. Of course, not everyone in the Grassukulo camp shares the same feelings as Grassukulo himself, as I'll later mention. Both of them were invited to the stewards office to have a rather long meeting regarding their conduct after the drivers' meeting. Let's put that lightly. Right, so let's get down to the starting grid for the 8th round of the Neucom Touring Car Championship. On the pole will be Jeffrey Finguy, car number 92, his first pole this year, although he did not get it on speed. Vincenzo Focasato flanks him. Hunter Veslowski and Renan Hirose will round up row 2. Row 3 will be Blake Warren and Kei Takahashi. Warren coming out strong from Sweden last week. Patrick Smith and Yuki Tamura, championship contender, will line up in 8th. Fabio Vitabassa and Kirk Vandenberg will round out your top 10. Eugene DeMax with a 10 grid penalty got the pole time but wasn't able to secure the pole position after his penalty from Sweden. Nathan Norman and Rio Lucas. Welcome back, Ali Nelson, flanking Black's Kanadi after being on maternity leave. Tatiana Rosales, Veronica Ryan in row 9. Row 10 will be Donovan Cage and Hudson Williams, both the course at the Rosas, running up the top 20. Artur Morales, a poor qualifying run. Dylan Schomburg, where he usually is on the grid. Sean Angel, his second start for PWC Renault Sport, great run for him. Mitchell Carter, not so much. In row 13, row 14, Scott Roush and Genji Paling with a little bit better qualifying run, I would say. Kiki Lakonen, a poor effort for one of the hometown heroes, Mauro Souza Cardoso, likewise. Martin Vander Zyde, Lukian Ivanov, debutante in the TRD. Yoshiko Sakamoto, Sebastian Vidal, once again a terrible qualifying run for him. Vince Fries, Varsha Johansson, Zygmunt Sanford, and Jude Harris run out the back row. Down to the starting grid here for the feature for round 8, and we're underway. Finguy with a good start, but a better start there from Vincenzo Focasato on his outside. There's Blake Warren down the inside of Wisłowski as the field flies into turn number 1. Now, it's going to be tough to see who can get the better advantage off of turn 2, because it's usually the outside that gets the better run. It had rain here earlier in the week, so the Dwyer S tends to be very slick, but Finguy will come out on top as he gets around Focasato on the inside. Warren is going to be right behind him. An American 1-2, but Finguy, after the confrontation with Grassukulo, claims that he is running not for 1 but 2 countries. Of course, in lieu of his late grandfather, Jarkko Finland, as now he leads the field. Focasato having gotten by Blake Warren in car number 8. Looks like Renan Hirose is about to take 4th position from Hunter Veslowski. Don't count Hirose out. She is definitely in that title hunt after her stellar performances in Sweden here last weekend. Now, as I mentioned, the Dwyer S is a very difficult sweep, as it almost claimed Takahashi and Tamura. That would have been disastrous for Tamura's championship run, as I would say. But everyone seemed to have gone through cleanly. Great for everyone else. Eugene DeMax, who started 11th place, is now finding his way into the top 10, as now he passes Kirk Vandenberg in car number 98. Through into the top 10 goes DeMax. DeMax, the current points leader, is treading thin ice over hot water, as race control has said, regarding his antics with Yuki Tamura at the end of the Sweden sprint when he got into the back of her, nearly costing her the win under the safety car. I would tread lightly if I were DeMax, but needless to say, Vitabassa had a bit of a moment there. We had to go check that out. Fabio Vitabassa was one of those drivers that did not agree with his teammate owner, Grassaculo's remarks regarding Jarkko Finland. In fact, he went to go comfort Jeffrey Finguy after their confrontation. Kind of unlikely thing to see when Vita Boss and Finguy have been rivals in the past. But in this case, it's much different. Vita Boss claimed that in the last year, when his dad died last year from a heart attack coming into Japan, Finguy was one of the first people to comfort him. So, a favor repaid, as they would say, in Grassaculo's case. Meanwhile, it's contact there between Damax and Tamura. Looks like they're not done yet. Watch out, Tamura! Tamura slides off the track and into the wall! Lap number 2! Tamura in trouble. Osakawa involved. Orman barely avoiding that. And a complete disaster for Yuki Tamura. And that is one of the last things that she needed in her championship fight with Damax. But it seems like Osakawa is worse off because she's a lot slower than the two. She seems to get back going, but yeah, Osakawa's going to have to head down pit road. A shame for Naomi Osakawa. She had a pretty solid qualifying effort through this week in specific, out-qualifying her new teammate, Ivanov, who was competing over in Russia under the Ukrainian flag. Tough break for him. Allie Nelson returning from maternity leave for most of last year in place of Bosi Markjanovic, who's had a splendid run up till he had his interest back into rally racing. As Nelson bit too deep, off the course she goes. Not even a lap later, Nelson even makes a mistake in a new car and barely taps the guardrails. Nelson gonna get back going? Looks like it. That's not a mistake you see out of the veteran very often, I'd like to point out, and not a very calm response that you would normally see out of Allie Nelson either. That's a bit of a surprise, if you ask me. Tamura now down pit road at the end of lap 3 to try to get most of that damage repaired to the rear end. She may still be able to contend for points, but it's a bit of a stretch, if you ask me. Disastrous day here for Yuki Tamura. Next lap for Laukkanen, almost goes off the track, almost collects Kosteka as well. Great save by both drivers. But Laukkanen also having trouble at his home racetrack, so it seems like even hometown heroes can never seem to master this racetrack every single time. As I mentioned in pre-race, it did rain earlier this week, so I wasn't too surprised when the Dwyer S was the bane of most everyone's existence and when trying to get the most track grip. Anyway, Focusato now under pressure from Blake Warren and Rena Hirose. Hirose looks to set up Warren. It looks like she's going to slot behind. No, she sends it down the inside. This is way too early to do it, but she's going to throw it in anyway. 2 for 1 goes Rena Hirose. Fantastic pass from the reigning Drivers' Champion. Wow, that's not something you expect there out of Rena Hirose. She is on a mission. To get back in that title fight. Let's see what on her onboard. Warren gets a bit loose off the curbs off the last corner. I genuinely thought she was just going to slot behind the 8 just to get by Focusato, but a little bit more greedy goes Hirose. She sends it down the inside. Poor position. That is a fantastic pass from car number 1. Fabio Vitabassa having fallen down the order a little bit. He's now fallen to the clutches of points leader Yuji Damax, who is looking to relish this opportunity to expand his points lead. His points lead is by no more than 12 to 15 points, if I recall correctly. As Patrick Smith runs wide around the hairpin, I don't think Vitabassa is going to get to him in time. But Vitabassa and Finguy seem to have had a good friendship on track. Oh, that's a bit of an off there for what it's doing to Max. No, no, no! Both cars are in trouble! And that's Vitabassa into the wall. Same goes for Damax, but Damax gets away with it. Oh boy, that's not going to sit well with race control, I don't think. And yeah, I was going to say the same there, except Damax doesn't have a championship under his belt here. What? Okay, I can understand one thing to hold your line if you're Fabio Vitabassa, but it's another to cut into his line and right hook him. I'm at a loss of words here. I've never seen that kind of foolery out of Damax. Wow, okay. It seems that race control wasn't having any of that either. And they just slapped him with a 10-second penalty as opposed to a 5. Remember when I said that Demax was treading on thin ice over hot water? This is exactly what I meant. Yeah, agreed there with his engineer. Because that's not what I saw either. Next lap, more trouble on the track. There goes Murillo Sosa Cardoso off the track as he collects Scott Roush, car number 26, and that's Genji Paling, I believe, collected as well. Is Roush going to get out of there? Nope. I don't think he is. Luckily, there's a crane over there, so there wouldn't be a necessity for a safety car. And Roush seemingly to be a bad luck sponge on the track. So, remember on lap 3 when Hallie Nelson threw it off the track from what could be a very solid points day? She's now back in 30th place. She's gotten by the back markers within about 4 or 5 laps. We're on lap 8, maybe 9 right about now. It's a solid recovery drive for Allie Nelson, despite this not giving her points, but a solid effort for the unsung hero, if nothing else, as Sakamoto runs it off by herself in turn 2. Not much of a surprise there. Jeffrey Finguy trying to hold out to a solid lead, but here comes René Hirose in car number 1. I wonder if Finguy is starting to use his tires up a little bit, because this track is a little bit known for wearing tires down if you're not careful with them. Of course, Finguy wanting to cross Karjala off his list. He has never won at this racetrack before. Last year in the last lap pass to René Hirose, a couple years ago, he got wrecked out with 5 to go by on-track rival Fabio Vitabasa. And in 2019, Finguy had a mechanical failure early in the race that took him out of a podium. Finguy had told race reporters that no more than a podium would be an abject failure for this weekend. So Finguy's goal clearly is to win this race, at least for his late grandfather. But we'll just have to see if he can out-strategize René Hirose, the defending race winner, or future race winner here at this racetrack. But Hirose closing up the gap rather quickly. Veronica Ryan in car number 42 having a very solid run within the top 20. Of course, Ryan having been shifted off of Toyota Racing Development into Midnight United Racing, which is an even worse move for her personally. But Toyota Racing Development has had a pretty ugly year so far. Ryan not gelling well with the Toyotas, but she seems to be gelling pretty alright with the Dodges, and I can't exactly blame her anguish there. The 2012 Drivers' Champion for the ill-fated Ryan Speed Shop. An older driver on the field, but it's got some tricks up her sleeve still. Again, solid top 20 run there for Veronica Ryan. Same could be said for Sean Angel, just ahead of her in car number 36. When that was Lamona's old ride, in which Lamona had lost funding and lost her ride there respectively as well. Hailing very slow now. Watch out! Oh my gosh, that was close. That could have been an ugly crash there between her and Patrick Smith, in which Smith, caught completely off guard, is going to lose out to Vislavsky in the 44. That just seemed pretty avoidable there for Paling. I'm surprised Race Control hasn't said anything of this yet. The LG Hyundai, especially with Paling, has not been short of controversy, especially with how things went in Germany, but I must point out that that wasn't entirely her fault. Next lap, Vislavsky gets through on Paling, but Takahashi using Paling as a pick so that Smith doesn't get through, and now Smith is going to fall even further down the order to Vandenberg and Max Canati, and Max Canati is picking it up as well in car number 22, and Smith loses out another 2 positions. I felt that the second time around that could have been completely avoidable, and I see that Paling isn't discriminating here. She's trying to be the bit of a rolling roadblock there for Vandenberg and Kanani, trying to keep things entertaining for the crowd, I guess, but much to the chagrin of Race Control, as Kanani down the inside of Vandenberg. See if he'll get through. Doesn't look like it. Vandenberg gets a better exit anyways. We now look at Kanani to see if he can secure what is a top 10 position from Kirk Vandenberg. That's going to be a no, maybe. Vandenberg checks up into the Juarez. Kanani almost loses it by himself, but a good save from the former V8's driver. Once again, Ford Racing Australia's goal is to win this race. at least for this year with Jeffrey Finguy. That's why they put a lot of their focus on him, but can't say that Kanani's not having a bad run himself, as Veslovsky got checked up by car number 6 of Kei Takahashi. That's going to allow for Kanani to close up the gap on the 44. Takahashi gets to run away with what is essentially, I believe, a 4th place run. When I say top 10, I meant top 5, because Vandenberg now on the attack of Kanani and Veslovsky, his fellow teammate. But Kanani's going to go through for 5th. Wow, that was a lot to cover in a short period of time. I believe this is 5th place. I'll have to verify that. Anyway, Hirose now all over the back end of Jeffrey Finguy. 1 versus 92. Where have we seen this before? 1 year ago, this was the last lap pass that Hirose got around him on the carousel to win the race. And effectively run away with the Drivers' Championship. Now this is Finguy's turn to defend from Hirose once more. And we're not even halfway through the race yet. So Finguy gonna have to be the whitest Ford Mustang out here to try to prevent the Honda Civic from getting by him. Hirose's looked very fast all weekend. She wasn't the fastest in practice, though. That honor would go to Allie Nelson in car number 4, which surprised a lot of people in the paddock, given that her qualifying run did not reflect that. Finguy, however, doing a good job of holding off car number 1 at the moment. This is probably the closest fight we're going to be seeing all afternoon. The 2020 Drivers' Champion versus the 4-time Drivers' Champion. Hirose looking low into turn number 1. She's too far back to make a move on Jeffrey Finguy. Now, Hirose looking for every which way to get around a 92, getting a little frustrated with him, maybe. That's going to cost her a little bit of time running wide at the off-camber turn 2. So Finguy can hold on for just a little bit longer. And I wonder if they're going to call Hirose in soon, because Hirose is faster than Finguy in the long run, but what will that mean for pit strategy? So Jeffrey Finguy having a splendid run, leading most every lap. He can lead the most laps at least to get those 5 bonus points to help his championship run, or at least try to get within the top 10, because he's had an absolutely miserable first half of the year. Save for his win in a sprint race in Canada, I must point out. And I believe another podium in Mexico the next weekend. Beat it as it may. Hirose not quite going to look at the Finguy's inside yet. Oh! Yeah, this could be a good call there by Kei Nagase, the race engineer for Neucom Motors. If they pit Hirose now. Oh, that's a bad exit there for Finguy. Hirose down the inside. This could be a pass for the lead, but it's really not, because Finguy is going to stay out for at least one more lap. Hirose setting up with the perfect line, entering pit road. Now, it's up to Jeffrey Finguy to overcut and make the most of his time lost on track, because tire wear can make or break someone's race. Let's see what his race engineers have in store for car number 92 once they bring him to pit road. Now I wonder, will this win Finguy the race, or will it cost him? As we now look to the pit cam, here's... That's Hirose up there. They're not done changing Finguy's right side. Here he goes, off pit road. Hirose having jumped the 92. I wonder if Warren's going to jump him as well. Yes, he has. Same with Kei Takahashi. So now Finguy's got his work cut out for him, as he's lost so much time to run a Hirose. Now remember, at this racetrack, fresher tires is going to win you a lot of time back, but how much is it that Finguy needs? Because he's got about a 10-second gap to close up on running Hirose. So I wonder, did they short fuel Hirose in car number 1? I'm tempted to think they have. Yep. Confirmed there from Nagase herself. So now Hirose is going to go in ultra-conservative mode for the rest of the race. Fukasada looked to have lost the third position to Takahashi, but Fingai on fresher tires may gain third back from car number 6. And they're telling him to push. As he now looks at Takahashi up the outside of the carousel. Fingai with a preferred line is going to exit with third. Jeffrey Fingai with a fantastic run up the final corner. That's going to leave Focusato on the charge for fourth on the rookie. This is a Rookie of the Year battle between both cars, I must add. They've been very competitive with each other so far this year. Fabio Vitabassa, with the damage that he has, he's running within the 30s. He's had an absolutely miserable rest of the race when he made contact with Eugene Max. So now he's up fighting with Vince Freeze and Jude Harris. Both drivers have been pretty much nowhere this weekend. Whoa, Freeze getting a bit argy-bargy with the 28 for a non-points paying position. Maybe some bragging rights, if nothing else, for Vince Freeze, but Nelson is right behind the both of them. Freeze having been the victor of that battle. Warren now under attack from Jeffrey Fingai. Warren having won his first race since 2019 in the feature race last time out in Sweden. Having gotten by a very aggressive Sebastian Van Dalen with a couple laps to go in the race. Fingai with a lot fresher tires than car number 8 is going to go down his inside for second place. Both drivers very respectable on and off the track. Warren blocking the 92. A great defense there from Warren. We're going to have to see what becomes of this battle here. I wonder if he's running a conservative strategy as well for the rest of this race, because he's not nearly as fast as the 92. The 92 has lapped times over 1.5 to 2 seconds faster than the 8. And maybe 2.5 seconds over the 1. So Fingai on ultra aggressive strategy. Warren running wide off of 6. Down the back straightaway now between both cars. This could reel Takahashi in for second effectively if things go south between both cars. Warren also having a very strong year within the top 5 in the points. At least for most of the start of this year. He had a pretty slow start when his teammate Nathan Norman was within the top 6 early on in the points. And yeah, you can see how much of a difference fresh tires makes compared to the older tires, like by a deficit of 1 lap apiece. So Warren has got to be a little concerned about Fingai getting around him for second. So he's trying to hold off 92 for more points in his championship fight, even though he's a long ways back from Demax and Tamura at the moment. Of course, Demax at a time penalty and Tamura fighting for a top 20 spot. Fingai down the inside of car number 8 to take second place, and that's the fastest lap of the race. Wow. So Fingai is throwing insane lap times. Mistake there from Rosales. That's not something you see every day. Speaking of a rookie who's had an absolutely miserable year by comparison to what she should be performing. As, ooh, good save there by Rosales. She could have been that into the tire wall, and that would have been her day done. Losing out 2 positions is better than losing a race car, so she's making the most out of a bad situation. Meanwhile, Demax is fighting for what is still a top 10 run. Or, not anymore, at least. Eugene Max with that time penalty, it could cost him points if he's not able to run away in time. So this could be absolutely detrimental to his championship run, but you gotta remember, Demax does have the pole points despite not starting in pole position. Dylan Stromberg, problems for him as he's run off into the Dwyer S. Is he gonna collect someone? Well, barely clipped Ivanov. In the 18, not much damage to him at least. But Stromberg has had an absolutely abysmal weekend in car number 16. He was 26 when this spin happened. Tamura fighting with Bud Fuchs for what could be points here soon. There is who she really needs to get by for points. Car number 42, Veronica Ryan. She might have enough to get around her to get points on Demax. If Demax's points penalty drops him below the top 20, this could be massive for Yuki Tamura as she's able to pull this off. Of course, further ahead, I believe it's Donovan Cage in car number 38. So props to him for a solid top 20 run himself. Or is that him, I wonder? Because I see a white roof. That might be 37. Of Hudson Williams. Yes, it is. My mistake. I mean, as it may, Tamura all over the back end of Veronica Ryan. Now, there's obviously a pretty clear equipment difference there between both cars. Midnight United being one of the worst teams of the series versus Neucom Motors, one of the best teams in the series. So you have to wonder if Tamura's going to be able to get around the 42 sooner rather than later. She is off cycle at the moment, so we don't know if she's going to be able to make it through to the end of the race. Be that as it may, Yuki Tamura needs every point possible to regain the points lead on him as well. 2 laps to go now. Finn Guy, much faster than car number 1. He's pulled off one of the impossible. Over a 10-second gap. Now down to just under a second between Rena Hirose and Jeffrey Finn Guy. Now the rules haven't reversed last year when Hirose was running him down for the race win, and she came up victorious. And Hirose starting to panic a little bit. That's not something you see every day from before time drivers champion. Now we'll see what becomes of this battle. Wow, Finn Guy's really on the back end of the one now. I wonder if that's everything he's throwing at it. Is it gonna give him the victory lane? We'll just have to see. Lap traffic up ahead, I must preface, as you see Genji Paling in the 99. Or I believe that's Yoshiko Sakamoto in the 9. I can't quite tell from that far back, since they have identical race cars. But be that as it may, Hirose cannot make any mistakes here in the last couple laps. Finn Guy making a very small mistake in a Dwyer S. That might have cost him a little bit of time, and not very much. He's still on Rena Hirose. He has not given up just yet. So, car number 1. Is she going to pull a back-to-back victory here at the Karjala Raceway feature, or will it be Jeffrey Finn Guy finally becoming victorious in his grandfather's home track at the Karjala Raceway? And now she's got enough. She can push right now. 1 lap to go between Rena Hirose and Jeffrey Finn Guy. Finn Guy having pushed ever since the first pit stop, and only pit stop of the race. And, oh man, this could be huge for Yuki Tamura and Rena Hirose both. They could be the first team to sweep this year if they're able to pull this one off. But never mind that, we have a race win to focus on now between Hirose and Finn Guy. As there's a lap traffic, there's Paling and Sakamoto. Both cars are off the pace. Paling, I believe, is a lap down. So this could lead to disaster here for either Finn Guy or Hirose if things go south in the wrong place. But they're closing up on the Hyundais now. Oh boy, this could get messy. Paling a lot slower than Sakamoto. She's a little bit too far ahead. She may not be a factor here for this race. But Paling possibly could be. Hirose on the back of Paling now. She's going to try to make a move into Dwyer S. Is it a good choice? Nope, she backs out. That's a bad choice there. Finn Guy setting it down the inside. Contact between both cars. Finn Guy's off. Jeffrey Finn Guy has thrown it away in a Dwyer S at the worst possible moment. Finn Guy has thrown it away. Gets into the tire wall. He's going to lose out. Second place, probably. Most likely. That's Warren going by. Or that wasn't Warren going by. There he is now. There's Takahashi and there's Focusato. All of that for nothing for car number 92. As Rena Hirose down the front straightaway, albeit controversial, is going to get her first feature race win of the year. Her second win of the year. First coming from the Germany Sprint. Heartbreak for Finn Guy. Completing the podium will be Blake Warren and Kei Takahashi. A great run for the rookie. Vincenzo Focusato will come on fourth. Finn Guy recovers to 5th place, just ahead of teammate Max Canati. Kirk Vandenberg rounds up 7th. Hunter Veslowski 8th. A pretty solid run for the Patronus Mercedes team, if I say so myself. Rio Lucas 9th, Patrick Smith rounding out your top 10. Mitchell Carter and Sean Angel, 11th and 12th. Carter, much better result than what his qualifying indicated. Tatiana Rosales, 13th. Could have been better if she didn't run off the track late in the race. Donovan Cage, 14th. A great points run for him and his first points of the year. Nathan Norman, Kiki Laukkanen, Marco Kosteka, Arturo Morales, Hudson Williams, and Yuki Tamura, having gained that final point from Eugene DeMax's points penalty. Or not points penalty, time penalty, excuse me. She will now sit on pole for the Finland sprint. This is a great opportunity for Yuki Tamura to take advantage of the points lead if she's able to do it. Tamura gets the green flag, but it's a bad start for Yuki Tamura. Arturo Morales is going to take advantage of this opportunity. I can't really say it's a bad start for Tamura because they both had a good start. Out of 63 having a better start than car number 2. Down the inside goes Morales. On Tamura, Laukkanen gonna try to send it 3 wide, but backs out at the last second wisely. Tamura almost clears around the outside, but she's still fighting the 63. Arturo Morales has had an absolutely miserable year. And car number 63, as he's facing a lot of pressure from Patronus Mercedes themselves. They are well down the order in the team championship, I must add. But Tamura, going around the outside into the back straightaway, she's able to get the lead. Tamura on a mission to gain as many points as possible on Eugene DeMax in their title fight. If she even wins this race in a tie, Tamura would get the tiebreaker off of 1 win apiece. So Laukkanen into 3rd now. Laukkanen looking to redeem himself a little bit there performance-wise in car number 5. He's had a few solid runs himself throughout this year. Meanwhile, further up, Martin van der Zyde, we have not mentioned him all day, gets off the track, gets into Fabio Vitabassa, and into the wall, both of them go. And that's going to take car number 1 out of the race for the sprint. He was already not having a good weekend, and van der Zyde's mistake kind of just compounds that mistake there, doesn't it? Anyways, Sean Angel doing battle with Donovan Cage. They are within the top 5. So both drivers are fighting for what they're worth. Angel being known to be kind of a sprint king, finishing on the podium in almost every sprint race when he was with Finguys. I tell me when they were running the Ferrari a year ago. But Sean Angel now holding off the 38. Cage is having a splendid weekend in the course of the Rosa. He's finally got his first points in the first half of the year. When his teammate Hudson Williams blowing him out of the water in the ill-fated Bachelor Motorsports team. Anyways, Eugene DeMax has, or that's Tatiana Rosales, I'm sorry, has found her way within the top 10 as well. She might be fighting for a top 5. But we have a safety car deployed. I wonder what that might be over. So we're looking back now at Barcia Johansson. There was a great pass there by Sakamoto, but she has not cleared him yet. They were 3 wide there, racing for last. I wonder what's become of this battle here. Contacts between both cars. Get off each other, get off each other, get off each other. Oh, no, no, no. Oh, my God, that is a bad wreck there. Now I understand why the red flag was thrown, because of this. Johansson rolling about 8 or 9 times, maybe. That's a bad one. And that was a big hit there for Scott Roush in the 26. Him and Vince Freeze were involved as well. Oh boy, that's not good. Not a very good camera angle. Here's a better one. And wow, digging into the grass the way it did. Both him and Sakamoto got together. That was not a pretty wreck to look at. Onboard Vince Freeze. Let's look at what he saw just ahead of him. I mean, well, Freeze wasn't really involved in that wreck. He just kind of was witness to all of that. Let's look for the helicam. Okay, at least it's a minor injury. These cars are kind of meant to take hits like that. But it seemed that they crossed over on each other. I can't really say who to call this one on. They had a lot of room on the racetrack. But in Sakamoto's defense, she was... Well, she might have been running out of room at that point before they head into turn 1. That's not a good place to sit before the first corner. And I'm glad no one else got hurt in that, but Johansson taken to the hospital for minor injuries, perhaps. He might get away scot-free. We're not entirely sure. Tamura will take the green flag for the restart here. Morales once again with a good start in a 63. He's going to try to make a pass down the inside into turn 1 to no avail. Yuki Tamura not going to fall under pressure again from the 63. It looks like Lauka might have an opportunity for second place here. He wants the podium, at least for his home crowd here today. If not Fingai, then maybe Laukinen, but we'll just have to see what becomes of that battle sooner rather than later. Looking now at the Dwyer S, nobody seems going off, save for Sean Angel, who almost loses it, gets into the 37, or the 38 of Cage. No further incident, however, thankfully. But yeah, lap 6 and lap 7 now, it looks like, as Angel now falling under pressure from Hunter Fislavsky. Hunter Fislavsky has had a fantastic weekend. The Russo-American, who's running under the Russian flag this year. Of course, we have Russia coming up here next weekend, so Fislavsky has, you know, a lot to make up here in front of his home crowd here next week. But Marco Kosteka just up ahead. No, Sean Angel. Kosteka's having a pretty solid run in car number 62. He's been blowing his rookie teammate Dylan Schrollenberg out of the water for most of this year, but not within the top 20 in the standings. Neither Red Bull drivers are really in the top 20 for that matter. Angel off once again, and this time no contact with Vislavsky. He at least knows better than to give a driver space that has run off in a Dwyer S. But luckily, he kind of just got away with no incident there as Takahashi slams on the brakes into the left-hander. I wonder what that was about. I guess she was afraid of getting cut off there by Max Kanani in a 22. But she gets it back going. She's lost a lot of positions, though. Contacts between the 18 and 98. Around goes a 98. Back up the track. In front of traffic. Hard hit there from Genji Paling. As nasty hit there from the 28 of Jude Harris. That was a bad one. Let's see. Ivanov just comes up the track, and I don't know what that was. Ivanov kind of just cleared himself off the 98, and there was nothing that could have been done. And oh man, that was a nasty hit from Jude Harris. It was just a last-second decision for him to go look to the right when the left would have been clear. It was kind of hard to judge there with all the smoke just ahead. Yeah, I was afraid that would happen. Honestly, it was probably better than to hit him on the driver's door, but I don't know what to say to that. In the case of Jude Harris, we're on board the back end of Vandenberg. Yeah, I'm not even sure what Ivanov was thinking. And that was a bad hit there from Paling. Paling got out all right. Roush also got involved in that wreck once more. Same goes for Mitchell Carter. Mitchell Carter, I believe, fell out of the race from this. Yuki Tamura with a poor restart in a lap 10 now. Is now facing pressure once more from Arturo Morales. Morales seems to be the master of these restarts, as he may be able to clear the 2. Yes, he does. He clears Tamura in a turn 2. Now into turn 3. Let's see if Nathan Ormond is going to clear now. Ormond has been pretty close on a couple of occasions. He scored 2 podiums in 2 consecutive sprint races. That being Mexico and Spain, if I'm not mistaken on that one. But Ormond is going to lose out to second on Tamura. Laukinen down his inside. Let's see if he gets that. No. But now Tamura's on a mission to get the race lead back. She's leading more laps than anyone else out here right now, but Nathan Ormond is going to have third for now. Yuki Tamura needs every point she can to get the points lead. Usually Max is within the points, I must add. So she's got her work cut out for her if she wants to get this points lead back from car number 23. But a bit of a mistake in the Dwyer S for Yuki Tamura. But a bad exit for Morales. This is going to give Tamura an opportunity. He defends the inside from car number 2. I wonder what difference this will make heading into the carousel. Tamura with a wider entry. But she's going to have a faster line and a better exit than the 63. Here we go. Down the front straightaway once again. Petronas Mercedes versus Neucom Motors for the race lead. Morales will lead the lap, but Tamura is in the captain seat there for the race lead. And is she going to be able to get to the inside? No, not here. But maybe in a turn 2? No, she's going to play her cars rather delicately. Maybe try to see if the 63 cracks under pressure. But she's going to find an opening where he least expects it. Morales has yet to win this year, much less get a podium, if I'm also not mistaken with that. Morales, like I said before, has an absolutely miserable year in car 63. We don't even know if the team's going to be around next year. Due to their abysmal performances, their sponsor Petronas expects much better than this. Or title sponsor, I mean. Demax, now within the top 10. He's going to find himself within the top 5 here very soon as he gets around Sean Angel on the inside of the hairpin. Yes, he does. So I'd be a little bit worried right now if I were Yuki Tamura, because she may not even exit this race as a points lead, despite all the penalties that race control is effectively thrown at him. As we exit the halfway point of the year, Patrick Smith's running wide in a Dwyer S himself. Meanwhile, Max Kanani taking advantage of the mistake Finguy is making. Kanani into the wall. I don't think that was intentional there on Finguy's part. He got into the curb, spun the tires, and this is just not making Finguy's weekend any better. Finguy was running in 11th. Or 12th place at that time, and that might have knocked his teammate out of the points. Tough break there for Max Kanani, the 22. Next lap, as Van Dalen slides off the track. Is he going to collect anyone? Yep, he does. He collects Dylan Schwallenberg and a 16, and it doesn't look like Schwallenberg's going to be able to escape the sand trap. And I wouldn't be saying that if I were Schwallenberg, considering what happened in the feature. But anyways, Tamura through on Arturo Morales for the race lead once again. As we are down to the closing stages of the race, Nathan Orman just behind in third. Tamura can now start running, as Nagase just said over the radio. But Veslowski putting pressure on the 3 for third. So Orman could lose his podium here. It could be a Petronas podium to sweep. At least second and third. Vandenberg, of course, out of the race and currently in the hospital for further evaluation and treatment. Renault Hirose has now found herself 13th place, maybe 12th place if she can catch up to Jeffrey Finguy, who not in the best state of mind at the moment from throwing the race win and a podium at that. But be that as it may, Renault Hirose could be a very serious factor in the championship fight if all goes well for her. Demax, and this is a surprise, he's now fighting for third with Arturo Morales. This is an entire lap later. Demax is now into third. From 21st to third in the sprint race. A pat on the back there for Eugene Demax, despite the controversies surrounding him for pretty much most of this year. Starting from round 2 onward, when he made contact with Renault Hirose for the feature win in Canada. So Demax really being the master of making the most out of every bad situation there. The car number 23, this is probably why he's a championship contender right now. A very good run there for car number 23, if nothing else. I'm sure Team Nisma would be especially happy with his run for most of this afternoon. And I'm sure he'll be happy with himself also. Wow. Great stuff there from Yuji Demax. I wonder if he's going to try to get second there from Veslowski, but Veslowski's pretty fast into 44 as well. One more lap to go, I believe, now for Yuki Tamura. She has dominated most of the race. She's lost maybe a lap or two of the race lead. But ever since she started first in the sprint race, she has since not looked back. Car number 2 has become a very serious contender for the championship fight, taking advantage of the woes of her teammate, 4-time champion Renault Hirose, but let's not count Hirose out just yet. She is definitely making herself worthy in the championship fight, but that focus has been on Yuki Tamura and Eugene Demax for most of the first half of the year. If Yuki Tamura wins this race, gets the lead lap bonus, she could tie Eugene Demax for the points lead, but this win would bump her up ahead of the 23. provided Demax doesn't cause any more controversial antics on or off the track. We'll just have to see what becomes of it. Be that as it may, Tamura, not so worried about that right now. She's more focused on getting a sweep for Neucom Motors. This will be the first time this year that Neucom Motors has swept the race weekend in both the feature and the sprint races. That hasn't been seen in a rather long period of time until last year in Mexico when Neucom swept both races there. Of course, that was when Sakamoto ended up winning that sprint race and then completely throwing her right away shortly thereafter. Anyway, be it as it may, Yuki Tamura rounding the final corner one last time. As of lap 14 is going to come take the checkered flag and claim another victory for Neucom Motors, sweeping the weekend for the team. This is also the first time that the Japan National Anthem has been played through both races since Mexico last year. Hunter Veslowski comes home second, Eugene Demax will come home third. I must also mention that Tamura got the fastest lap of the race as well. Kiki Laukkanen in a very respectable 4th place finish. Nathan Norman rounds up 5th. Arturo Morales falls to 6th. Marco Casteca, a very respectable 7th place run. Patrick Smith comes home in 8th. A pretty solid weekend for the Canadian. He won the sprint race in Mexico under the safety car earlier this year. Sean Angel coming home in 9th. A solid top 10 run for BWT Renault Sport. And 10th is Vincenzo Focusato. Renner Hirose comes home in 11th, beating out Jeffrey Finguy for that position. Finguy will come home 12th. Blake Warren, respectable 13th place finish. Hudson Williams, a great result for him in 14th. And Naomi Osakawa, despite her woes in the feature race, will come home in the top 15, scoring 1 point, making the most out of a bad situation. We look at the Drivers' Championship fight now. A tie between Yuki Tamura and Yuji Demax. Of course, Tamura can need a tiebreaker off of wins. Renner Hirose, as you may see, creeping up slowly, but she is back in that title fight with 377 points. Kei Takahashi gets ahead of Vincenzo Focusato by only 1 point. That Rookie of the Year fight is very intense. Blake Warren is tied with Focusato for 5th. Patrick Smith in 7th, Hunter Veslowski 8th. He's climbing back up the order. Fabio Vitabassa falls to 9th after a miserable weekend. Rio Lucas rounds out your top 10. Jeffrey Finguy making the most of a bad situation, coming home 5th in the feature race, but obviously could have had better. He runs 11th. Nathan Norman 12th. Bosimir Kjarnovic no longer in the series in 13th. Mitchell Carter 14th. He's kind of lingering into the top 15. Same goes for Kirk Vandenberg, but we don't know if we'll see him in Russia. Kiki Laukkanen in 16th. Max Canati 17th. Tatiana Rosales getting that point over... Or not that point, I'm sorry. Tatiana Rosales, of course, her rookie campaign is starting to improve a little bit. Arturo Morales in 19th, just 1 point back. Sean Angel getting more points, adding to his streak in sprint races. Will round up in 20th. The next round of the Neucom Touring Car Championship will take place in the Tula Oblast racetrack over in Russia.